Hello everybody, today we're going to take a look at the iPhone 5. So this is just a quick look and feel to see what the phone looks like. So this phone has recently been released, and as you might know, this phone was available for pre-order from Apple a week before it was available in the stores. And during the first few days of that pre-order period, Apple clocked up some 2 million orders of the phone, which is quite impressive, shows a strong demand for the phone. And I'm guessing that a lot of people who had the iPhone 4 skipped the iPhone 4S and were waiting for the iPhone 5. So let's take a look at the iPhone 5, which we have here right next to an iPhone 4, just for comparison. And the most obvious difference must be the display of the phone. So the width is the same on both, and the pixel density is the same. Both are Retina displays. The difference is that the iPhone 5 has a longer display, so you get another row of icons onto it. And that gives you a 4-inch display, versus all the other iPhones had 3.5-inch displays. Something I was looking for in the iPhone 5 was better color saturation. I really wasn't very happy with the iPhone 4. It was great when it came out a few years ago, but compared to some of the new Samsung, Nokia and so on telephones, I think the screen on the iPhone 4 was just starting to look just a little bit tired and old. It didn't have the same vibrance. The iPhone 5, they claim to have 44% more color saturation to give you more vibrant colors, true blacks and so on, give the screen just a bit more pop. I think it does to an extent, but it wasn't as much as I was expecting. But it does look really nice. The casing on the iPhone 5 is made out of aluminium, or aluminum if you're American, and they've done away with the glass back which we had on the iPhone 4. I didn't like the glass back actually. I didn't understand why you would stick a glass back on a phone, or more glass than you need to on a phone, because it's something you might drop and that just makes it a bit frail. So it's all aluminium and feels very nice actually, very nicely machined, very snug, very precise. So yeah, quite impressed with what they've built, and it actually feels just a little bit too light for what it is. If we look at the phone, then some differences. The buttons on the side here, we've got the volume buttons and the mute switch. They're about the same, but I think on the iPhone 5 they feel more solid, probably been re-engineered. On the top, the headphone plug is gone on the iPhone 5, and they've actually put it in the bottom of the phone. I'm guessing the reason they put it there is if you're walking with the phone, it makes more sense to have the headphone plug at the bottom of the phone than at the top of the phone, because if you're walking along and maybe texting or something, then you don't want a big wire sticking up the top. It's probably more convenient for it to come out the bottom. If you look underneath it, next to the headphone jack, you've got the lightning connector, and you really have to see this to appreciate how small it is. And so it's really teeny actually. It's not even half of my fingernail. And I know they did this for space savings reasons. They really couldn't fit that big plug on there anymore. Everything in this phone is apparently very crammed in. There isn't a lot of space in there. Another difference then is the SIM card slot. We used to have micro SIMs for the iPhone 4 and 4S. And they've gone to nano SIMs now, which are even smaller. So I was a bit surprised. I expected this to be much smaller, but it was just a bit smaller. And I was able to take my old micro SIM card and cut it to shape with a pair of scissors and put it in the phone and get it to work. I wouldn't recommend you do this because I probably got lucky. It's probably better if you go to a phone shop and they use a proper cutter to do it. But so far this phone seems to work just fine. The camera on the back is the same camera as on the iPhone 4S. The glass is a little bit different. I think they're using mineral glass this time around. Also, the faster processor inside the phone means that the phone has better low light capabilities when it comes to taking pictures. You also get a panorama app with the phone that allows you to sweep with the camera and capture scenes and create your own panoramas, which is quite a nice little thing. For the guts of the phone, it has an A6 processor, which is a quad-core processor, and I'm pretty sure that's the first quad-core processor that we've ever seen on any of Apple's telephones. Also, we have better connectivity. The problem we have with the iPad, the new iPad that came out in 2012, was that it had 4G, but it didn't work in Europe, so it wasn't much use for us over here. But this phone, it's got 4G that works over here, and 4G networks seem to be rolling out in several cities across Europe, so it's a nice addition. It's also supposed to be faster on Wi-Fi networks compared to the older iPhones. It's got 3 microphones versus the old one only had 2, which gives you better fidelity. And with the phone you get some better headphones, finally. The old headphones that we used to get were pretty bad. They had no bass, but these do produce quite good bass. They're not the best headphones in the world, but they're actually adequate for what they are. So when I read the spec sheet for this phone, I wasn't really very impressed. It just seemed to be, well, slightly bigger screen, faster processor, you know, the normal incremental stuff. But now I've had a chance to look at the phone and actually handle it and play around with it. I'm quite impressed. I think it's a nice phone. It's so nicely made, so nicely machined. So maybe you're thinking about buying an iPhone. If you are, then I hope this video has been helpful. Take care now. Bye.